to remember during my autumn of rejections. I am the naked toddler in the living room, screaming for everyone to watch the dance routine I have been doing all holiday and clap like it is King Lear at the Globe. I'm at the teacher's desk, holding a rock I found on Dad's allotment, carried into school in kitchen towel. It's the remains of a Roman emperor, probably. She tells me to sit down, stop wasting everyone's time, and I scoff that she'll be sorry when this is in the British Museum and I'm a millionaire. My World War I poem mounted on red card, 3 weeks on the classroom wall until it is taken down because I find my fame too distracting. The job interview I am invited to attend when the Evington Echo publish my article about Greek cork farmers. I arrive in dungarees. They suggest that 10 is too young for a career in journalism. And I say, but there's a whole lot more where that came from. It's him. It's him. The man at work who bought you a Zadie Smith hardback in the Secret Santa. He always restocks the tea bags when it's night's turn. He did a 5K dressed as a pirate for children with cancer. Everyone cheered him over the finish line, then laughed at the photos passed around the office on Monday. He runs the Woodcraft summer camp, drives the bus, lights the fire. He turns a blind eye to teenage tent drinking. He has pictures of his kids on his desk on a beach in sun hats. He's got a blue tick on Twitter. Retweets opinion pieces on the Me Too campaign, says he hopes his employees know that they can always come to him. He baked a round of brownies and staff bake-off, won first prize but donated the medal to the lady who came second. His wife's delightful head of marketing at a local theatre. She smiled at you once coming out of Sainsbury's beside their daughter holding a Peppa Pig magazine. They host garden parties in summer. He does a bulk buy from Majestic Wines, invites the women from the office and spends the evening mentioning French films he likes. He speaks a lot. He gets in there first whenever your name's brought up. I used to think that adults meant safety. With their people carriers and thick jumpers, adults went sofa shopping, organised barbecues, bought nice yogurts, had clean towels and good pyjamas, and I couldn't wait for it. To get past the stage of wanting to chop my own hands off if I didn't have pockets, I would walk around with my arms crossed at the same time the men began telling me to cheer up. At parties, I was desperate for grown-ups. Scoured the room during Pass the Parcel for someone who could intervene at the first sign of cheating. I would slip out of sleepovers to sit on the carpet next to mums watching ITV crime dramas because you couldn't be homesick. Not when you were pressed against a faux leather three-piece suite and Inspector Barnaby was about to make an arrest. If I got lost as a toddler, I knew to approach the first woman I met. Show her the number scrawled up my arm and ask her to phone home. I longed for adults. The ones who did big shops, had golden retrievers, hosted dinner parties, cooked ottolenghi recipes, had neckrests on their office chairs and blankets across the back seats of their Volvos. I wanted adults with routines and boring jobs. Adults who would notice the 13-year-old girl on the carpet beside them while everyone else was next door doing Ouija boards. Now I pay my mortgage each month and think, God, look at you pretending. Spend bank holidays in DFS, combing the crowds for a mother who might take me home so we can watch Midsummer Murders together. Hey kiddo. He arrives dressed as love. You are in pigtails and a bucket hat with no change for the payphone. He is your father, doctor, bartender, half-price pints, a lock-in for your mates and a lift home at the end of the night. He's got deep pockets, a smile like a rock in a storm. Where do you want to go? A boot full of booze, enough weed to keep you high for a month. He stops in country roads, weighs his confidence by the ton. watches you in the passenger seat and offers to give you some. Bikini handstands, teenage skin greasy with sun cream, across the sand he shouts my name, swaggering Brit abroad, sunburn and beer gut. They've got jet skis. He points to the jetty at the end of the beach. The girls look at me and I sink. He is impatient. None of us speak. And then Emma grabs my hands. Yeah, well, she already promised to go on with me. And now we run, fast as we can. He is behind us like he is in on the joke. We know that he will grab us if he catches up. Emma fumbles with her money case, throws a few coins at the vendor who tries to show us how to start the engine. He is coming up the jetty now, so I get on, her behind me. I press a lever and we shoot forward. She holds tight around my waist. He is shouting from the shore. I glance, can't help but laugh. We keep going until we can't hear him and then stop. She rests her cheek against my back. Water slap against plastic. Our breath catches. And so that night I knock on his mum's room after lights out and I tell her what he does to me back home. We look at each other in our night dresses. She says that she will deal with it and sends me to bed with the other girls. I sleep with my eyes on the door. Next morning, she appears mother hen in a polyester skirt, herding stale cider children with the air of someone who just delivered a fatal blow. And I am cartwheeling safety. The bus opens with a piston. Tonight, I will eat pizza with my friends in some evening square on this council-funded trip across Italy. And next week, I will be in school with a canister of film in the Kodak kiosk. I crouch down to change the CD on my Walkman. I notice my bag's not in the hold. It waits on the tarmac. He picks it up, puts it on the back seat of his car, with the air of someone who just received a fatal blow. Family dinners like McCain's Chips adverts. It's all sturdy hugs and Sunday jumpers. No one gets a word in over all the conversation. A bike is left propped against a picket fence. A dog in a basket has not shat on the floor. No toddler has stood in it. No sibling drums their fingers at news of their sister's extension. A song through the Alexa speaker that Naughty's David Gray hit reminds the father of a holiday in southern Spain, and he tells the story of the grapes and the waiter again. Everyone laughs. There is cake. Nobody grits their teeth. Nothing is said in hushed tones over washing up. Before they leave, they make a date to do it again, knowing that nobody will cancel last minute. Let's not make something a nothing. I mean, he's a hard-working guy leading us through a pandemic. There were gonna be times when he needed to kick back with some cheese and wine, games and quizzes, pin the tail on the care home worker. How many people died alone over a 6-week period? It's multiple choice. Do you want a clue? Hancock got it, of course he did. But let's not blow this out of proportion. What's a few festivities between MPs, journalists and the Met Police? You couldn't all be invited. Someone had to keep A&E going, staff the vaccination centres, comfort the children when they turned off mum's ventilator, and look, he is sorry if you have decided that you are going to be offended. Is it gaslighting? Or is it just you being oversensitive? Here's a picture of him with another one of his kids. How can you stay mad at this fun guy, this drunk uncle, bumbling dad at a wedding? How many has he had? He's Les Dawson. He's Bernard Manning. Have another drink. He was only kidding. There's enough cocaine for everyone. So let's not talk about mass graves and overflowing ICU wards now, mood killer. We all work hard. Just that some of us work a little harder than others and you can't complain. Not when you had your Zoom funerals, your Rishi payouts. Don't say we never give you anything. Sure, it is a shame that your business went under, but a little of daddy's investment, a contract for your mate who owns the local pub will get you back on your feet, and he knows it was tough. But at times, wasn't it quaint? In your cosy homes, cladded high-rises, turkey for one and the heating turned off, call it Blitz spirit, call him Churchill, the dangling mayor with a flag in each hand and a slur in his mouth, clap for carers, 3% for nurses, lighten up, he's got the sun in one pocket and the Times in the other, and there is nothing that a sobbing scapegoat won't solve, not when he's got Cressida coming round for dinner, so call him incompetent, call for no confidence, bang your fists and take to Twitter and rage and swear and call him a liar, then calm down, go to bed. You've had too much to drink, and you are embarrassing yourself, dear. So then what is it that's going to make us snap? Because for 13 years we have watched them systematically strip this country to scaffolding and sell the best bits to their mates, and now the ground's unsteady, the foundations are failing, and I don't know what it will take for us to demand our stability back. Our NHS, our welfare state, our safety net that always made this Britain great. I grew up believing that when someone slips, you hold them till they're back on their feet. But I grew up a child of the 90s, a child of the Labour Party. I grew up knowing that you never trust a Tory because all the Tories know is greed. And now every supermarket's got a food bank bin for you to put your kindness in, and energy has become a luxury only available to the rich. We are the frogs in the pot and the water's reached boiling. It is us versus them, and they have known this is coming because there is only so long they could keep us distracted whilst they emptied the coffers. And whilst we fight each other for table scraps, they criminalise our placards, our right to speak, to fill these streets with voices asking for some decency. They have defunded our arts degrees, told the kids to go get proper jobs because nothing is more dangerous to them than a whip-smart angry teenager with a platform and a pen, and they tell us it will trickle down. But meanwhile, we need to hug our pets, batch cook porridge, eat more soup and cancel Netflix. But watching Netflix never tanked the pound, and there is only so much you can blame on Putin, COVID and Gordon Brown. This is an island run by landlords and Murdoch, whereas I was taught it was meant to be run by us. But that's why they want us small. They want us quiet. They want us cold and hungry with mould up the walls, and whilst they partied through lockdown, drank red wine till they were sick, we remembered who we were before someone opened the vault doors and let the Tories take their pick. We are a country of good people, run by the very worst, who have convinced us that this scourge on the most vulnerable is exactly what we deserve. But it ends here, you gluttonous vultures on a decade-long smash and grab. This is the straw that makes the country snap, so give us what you took from us, because now we want our country back. Broken body clock car park, budget hotel and long haul drivers. I put my WhatsApp location on in case I am murdered and my husband has to find the body. I get my best, worst ideas in service stations at 2 a.m. Cult TV scripts that will be gone by morning. The Costa cashier doesn't look up at my face full of makeup, my ears full of hoops. I want to tell her about my poorly attended gig in a town hall between Burnley and Leeds. Nothing to show but a backseat of books, 2 new Twitter followers and 20 quids. It is 3 hours to home. He has left my pyjamas on the laundry bin to save me clattering round in the dark. I check behind both seats before getting in, lock the doors, turn the heaters on, open a reduced cheese and onion sandwich, listen to a programme on the history of the harmonium, and let the windows fog. So I stopped drinking and told everybody that I had been given the gift of time. Now I just spend it worrying that perhaps that online career test I did in year 8, which said that I should be a lorry driver, was right. All those PSHE lessons on CVs and interview skills, now I Google the hourly rate of DPD drivers and weigh it up against paying off my student loan. Before I knew what death was, when I still counted down the days to my birthdays, I planned a life where I had 6 jobs: dentist, vet, astronaut, prime minister, ballet dancer, poet. Then everything became one long dad joke, and I just wanted to be the impoverished artist swimming in baked beans and final demand letters, knowing that my parents would never actually let me starve. I spent a year and a half planning my 18th. I drank a bottle of tequila in 45 minutes, and the next day couldn't remember any of it. And now, I only wish for a salary and an Ocado shop. I imagine myself in an office with a headset. I am a woman who goes for bottomless brunch, has weekends away with the girls from marketing in Airbnbs with hot tubs. So he's got a New Year's resolution, and let's all imagine him just getting back to the office, holding a hoisin duck, pret wrap, a packet of popcorn, lime and black pepper. He has taken the stairs because it is the first week of January. He checks his phone as the double doors close behind him. He knows he can squeeze an episode of The Good Place in before his 1 o'clock meeting. He crosses the office, remembers that he should reply to his wife's text about their daughter's one-to-one tuition. He sits in a swivel chair, tears open the plastic wrapper, turns 45 degrees to his laptop screen, then Susan appears over the top of it and says, "Sorry, have you got a minute?" And now this is what a feminist looks like. Weinstein with the walking aids, geriatric Murdoch, stumbling old man shuffle. Now this ordinary Joe English teacher borrows a set of his mum's crutches, hobbles in, clutching a fumbling pile of doctor's notes. They can't put him away. Too fragile. And his family, Jesus, an anxious wife and 2 teenage children, they need him financially, shouldn't be punished. A 16-year-old daughter must be protected at all costs. His precious baby girl can't find out what he does to other people's precious baby girls. He is sorry for whatever this girl grown up thinks he may have, might not, maybe did, misremembers, obviously too drunk, too sexy, bones running hot with dishonesty, not worth ruining a man's life over. Surely. Just one slip, but such a good, clean record. Society's gold standard, upstanding member makes a monthly direct debit to Women's Aid when he remembers his life is too precious, too vital, his contribution too immeasurable, with so much left to give. What good could come from sticking him amongst the other common criminals? Sure, you can make an example of this pillar of the community, but where does it end? What then? This pillorying of men, witch hunts fueled by girls out for all that they can get, and a police force so relentlessly on the side of women. This is a poem for a group of teenage girls from Leicester Rape Crisis that we took on a country walk through the Derbyshire countryside. We arrive a cavalcade of teenage girls, park outside the post office and buy 5 packets of ready salted in return for the key to the loo. Our group is a haze of eyelashes and Packer Macs passed by men with walking poles and waterproofs. We are not here for the miles, And by 2K, I am ready for stragglers, but their bodies move them forward, hands on tree trunks, legs scrouched over something disgusting, squashed and skeletal. Do you reckon a bird dropped it? They are like tiny kids again. Buttercups under chins, dandelions, seed heads, pink flowers pressed into the pages of notebooks. Is that corn, miss? Can we eat it? Are we going to see an eagle, woodpecker, pheasant? No one complains about the drizzle and the heat. Because out here, no one wants anything from them. No deadlines or pressure. They are not being weighed up and measured. It is not the run to the bus stop past the building site, 3 a.m. with keys between fingers, or the corridor of boys with their phones out. No long wait for a taxi that never comes. No grades, no marks, no scales, no mirrors. These girls with their secrets trying to keep it together. Just big skies and trainer tread on grass and gravel. The promise of a cheese cob picnic. They just keep going. And at the end, as they lean against the minibus, mouths full of flapjack, the men come with walking poles and waterproofs, and one of our gang says, "Have you been on the walk? Because we have too." As she cuts a piece of birthday cake and passes it to her husband, unhappy about the direction the conversation has gone in, she says, "Yeah, well, I guess just some women can't keep their knickers up." There is torn wrapping paper across the table. I have been asked to get on with this woman this time, so I don't ask her about her research, what studies she is citing, what sources she is quoting, whether her evidence is qualitative or quantitative, what the variables were, over which time period, whether any placebos were involved, how the results were measured, which women, what knickers. Our neighbour builds a home office in his garden, invites his mates to try it before it's finished. Plastic sheeting still whipping in the wind, they arrive freshly shaved in cheap suits. A parade of Range Rovers light cigarettes, admire his setup, imagine themselves powerful, securing contracts from the lawn, a noughties indie playlist through a speaker at an open window. They order McDonald's, throw wrappers over our fence. At 5, they take off their ties, stoke up the fire pit. A wife brings a crate from the garage, and their beer gut laughter carries over to where my husband, in crumpled t-shirt and sock feet, collects their litter, then comes inside to start on dinner. Right, Leicester. I'm performing this book quite a bit over the next few months, and normally that's where I would go into my final poem, but there are 2 poems in here which are commissions about Leicester, and I thought, well, where better to do one of those? And I was weighing up which one to do, and I thought I would do this one because it is very much about kind of art in the face of adversity, which is something that I really believe in. And I guess if the question of this book is, what do you do when power has taken everything, my answer would be, you tell the story of that. And this is very much kind of the message of this poem. If you want to see the other poem, it's on permanent display in Leicester Museum, which is the museum that we're not allowed to call Newark Museum anymore. It's in the Leicester Stories Gallery, which is a very nice space you should go to anyway. But this is called It's Not Something That Other People Do. It is not royal bones below the place we used to park our cars. It's not the streets at a standstill, footballers on the bus, the trophy held up in Vicky Park. It's not knowing that we've scored from the roar of the crowd over the canal to my back garden, and it is definitely not Benedict Cumberbatch in the cathedral reading a Carol Ann Duffy poem. That is a very niche reference, but it really annoys me. I was like, why can Carol Ann Duffy not read her own poem? It's a 4-year-old looking up at a 50-foot dinosaur, It's 2010's X Factor winner in the sold-out Christmas pantomime at the Montfort Hall. It's a raucous audience at Drag Queen Bingo in a pub theatre off the Narber Road. It is fear-free environments, anything goes. It's doing all the things that you know that your kids would die from embarrassment from if they could see you now, but look at you go. It is unlocking a moment of joy in a silent child. A family learning how to play together for the first time. It is a teenager finally finding a place for all those feelings he so desperately didn't want you to see. It is illuminated stilt walkers, coffee shop basements, neon lights on dusky skylines, howling, roaring, pin-sharp acoustics, polished brass and remorseless steam. It is not saying arts for all because it ticks a funding box. Guess you and I's right up in The Guardian. It's for the people who don't even want art. Stick two fingers up at art. Say, what has art ever done for me? For the people who would not know where to begin with art, where to even find art, because art was the teacher who told me that I could not draw and sent me to sit in the corridor for 2 hours instead of doing art. It is not over there. It's not on the other side. It is not something that other people do. It is not right or wrong, not only if you speak the correct language or agree with us or read the notes before attending the session. It is not only if you can successfully navigate the networking event, 2 small teacup clattering through the skin-crawlingly awkward chit-chat, it's not 50 quid. It's not only in London. It's not, did you hear that programme about it on Radio 4? No, I did not. And it is not, have you read Chekhov? Although sometimes it is, and that's fine for those guys who like Chekhov. They are welcome here too. I'm going to have a little drink. Have you noticed that it is coughs all around this evening? Ooh, I think Steve gave me this. Oh. Let's see. But it is in you. It is messy and stupid and rude and delicate and precious. And if you feel it, then feed it and bring it to us, because we are an island of red in an ocean of blue. This was written a couple of years ago. We still are, marginally. Remember to vote. We are swimming against the tide when 4 million children live below the poverty line. We are not giving up when it feels too tough, when all the fight has gone out of us, with fewer and fewer schools having the time or the cash to teach creativity in their classrooms. That's when we pick up the slack. Plug the growing gap between the haves and the cannot afford tos in these dangerous and difficult times, and freedom of expression has never felt so threatened. We open our arms wider. We have enough space at our tables. We want to hear your stories, so write them down, play them out. On our stages, in our studios, we are well used to playing the underdog here. And here we leave no one behind. We build our communities on the rare belief that art is a fundamental right, the great leveller that lifts all, from Clarendon Park to the Belgrave Road. We know success is no accident. It begins with the moment and grows with the relentless cultivation of talent. You don't have to be an unremitting extrovert to join this. There is no club to sign up to, no clique to hang out with. We just need you. It is okay to switch off the news for an evening. We feel it too. So bring us your fears, your dreams and your heartbreak. Take a break from it all for a bit. There is a door here, a seat, a ticket. The world is raging outside, so come in. Give us your time, and together we just might change it. To clap during your sets is you can do all your coughing and your drinking in between, so thank you very much for that. I'm going to do one final poem for you. Before I finish, I should say some thank yous. I should say a huge thank you to Attenborough Arts Centre for hosting us this evening. He's not here, but I should also say a huge thank you to John Kirby. Many of you won't know John Kirby, but he does so much for arts and artists in Leicester, and the art scene in Leicester wouldn't be the same without him. Protect John Kirby at all costs. Give him a round of applause, he's not even here. Thank you to Steve, our endlessly wonderful and patient technician this evening. I should probably thank my husband as well, who's also being a bit of a technician over there. I should say thank you to all of our open micers this evening who have got up and performed, whether they've been on stage before or not. I should say thank you to Boilers. I should say a particularly personal thank you to Fish, who has been an absolute tower of support to me over the past few years. I should say a thank you to Rosie over here, who's kind of quietly over here. You wouldn't even know she was here. She did the... we didn't know each other, and I don't really know how it happens, but she said that she would do the artwork for my book, and she did the front cover, and then she went about just illustrating like pretty much every single poem, and then I was like, great, we're done now, and she went, no, I'm going to go make like a shit ton of merch, which is like really good, like it's really good merch, it's not crap, it's brilliant. And when we first started, like we didn't know each other, and now she has become one of my great friends, and I think that she's like quietly brilliant and an absolute powerhouse, and should actually have more rest days. Arguably she's worked harder on this book than I have. And then finally, I should also say, one of the big themes of this book is my experience of and recovery from years of childhood sexual violence. And I would never have recovered from that if it wasn't for Leicester Rape Crisis. I owe my life to my rape crisis therapist who got me through some really difficult years. Leicester Rape Crisis do some absolutely astonishing work on an absolute shoestring. There should be a QR code within your vicinity. If you scan that with your phone, it will take you to a fundraising page if you wanted to donate any money to them to support the brilliant work that they do. Thank you all so much for coming this evening. I'm really glad I'm not just doing this to me and Dave. I'm going to do this final poem for you, and then I'm going to go outside, and if you want to buy anything or have anything signed or just say hi or just have a drink together, that would be great. Thank you, Leicester. You never let me down. I text you from my office overlooking the street, 10 minutes before a meeting with an exec. I am in slippers and have a hot water bottle stuffed up the back of my jumper. My notebook is a cheap £1 thing from Sainsbury's and it's empty. And you are 15 years ago in low-rise jeans and lace knickers. It is only a Thursday afternoon, but you are in the Loaded Dog drinking wine as fast as the boys drink cider. You all have to be back in class in 20 minutes, but you had an offer to study creative writing in Liverpool last week and have fancied yourself Seamus Heaney ever since. You are too busy playing pool and Tuesday nights in fan club to bother with actually reading anything. But having been given 10 minutes at an open mic, you are convinced that you are the greatest writer that ever lived. You reply quickly on your Nokia 3210. I mean, anything to avoid double psychology. Who needs it anyway where you're headed? So here you are, drunk and loud beside me, purple hair and belly button piercing, laying your confidence across my desk as the exec asks what I'm working on at the minute. There is a silence. You glance pitifully at the date written neatly across the top of my page and pull out your own notebook. It is moleskin. It is covered in stickers of bands that boys you fancy play in. I recognise it as one of hundreds now up in the loft. You part the pages with the silk divider, and without being asked, you descend into the first stanza of a poem you wrote on the bus on the way here. And afterwards, you admire my bookshelves, notice the ones with your name on, show posters and slam trophies. You take a second look at me in my charity shop jumper and unbrushed teeth. I don't show you the inbox of rejections, dwindling bank balance. Social media, a party of everyone who's doing better than you. Instead, I take you to dinner with my husband's family. You look at the manual, Mary. Listen to people asking me again what it is I do for a living, only for them to talk over me about their jobs in insurance and accountancy. And as they wring their hands over what to do with all that money, you reach across the table, top up my glass, and tell me to speak up.
Well, then 6 on